Thank you, thank you. Listen, guys, I only have 30 minutes, like literally exactly at 9:30. I'm gonna have to sign off. So I'm gonna try, as I said in my post, I'm gonna try to give you guys as much as I possibly can in the short amount of time that I have. But after I just started putting all of my thoughts and notes together, I realized that this really would be more than just one live session. I'm gonna have to do multiple ones. So I am really excited about it. I actually have some incredible things in store for you guys. I'm not gonna be the only one, although today I will be the only one. But in the future, I'm actually going to bring people who were part of my home birth team, family members, everybody's coming on board to talk to you guys and give you guys more information regarding the home birth experience and also the home birth journey. So with all of that being said, I am super, super excited to be sharing this personal journey with you. I am entitling these mini series that I'll be doing on Thursdays. I'm entitling them My Home Birth Journey, a not so mini series, because this has been what I've considered for myself as a woman, as a mother, an incredible accomplishment for me. So I don't consider or take this the act of being able to bring children into this world by any means, whether it was through natural birth or C-section, medicated, unmedicated, whatever the case might have been. This is a gift, a privilege that we all get to do so as women. So that being said, like I mentioned, I'll probably be doing several of these over the course of the next couple of months. Make sure that you stay connected to me, subscribe on my website, make sure you're part of my e-list. That way you'll know when I'm going live, you'll know who's coming on. I'll try to give you snippets and teasers of what's gonna be taking place throughout all of these, but I wanna make sure that you don't miss out. So because I have information that I'm gonna be sharing with you all, I also want to attempt to be interactive. So if I'm saying something that's good, you didn't know, like you're catching the information, just make sure that you throw some hearts out there. Let me know I'm doing a good job. I am nervous. This is my first time, guys. First time doing a live. So I'm getting all of the jitters out with this first group. But I really am praying that this is going to be a blessing to all of you. So for anybody who does not really know me, you might have seen me, you're following me. Obviously, that's how you came across the live today. But if you don't really know about me, I do want to tell you a little bit of history and the context of where I'm coming from, why I decided to do this mini series. So first and foremost, before anything, I am a wife, I am a believer. My husband and I do pastor the most incredible church in the DMV, Hope Center. Shout out to my Hope Center family. But aside from that, I am also a mother, and I take great pride in being a mother to my three incredible, amazing daughters, Kalea, Nade, and Navaya. And I will say that when it came to this journey, this was not something that I intended to do when I thought about marriage and having children. There was actually a moment that changed really the trajectory of my history, I would say. It changed that. And so I want to talk a little bit to that. So to start off, I do have a background in sociology. I did get my master's degree in sociology, a concentration on family studies, specifically the Latino community. And I had the great privilege of being able to sit in on with one of the most incredible professors in the world. But I had the great privilege of taking a course with her during my master's program that was entitled The Sociology of Birth and Death. And when I say that this course changed my life, those words don't even come close to what this course actually did for me. One of the common denominator among all of us as humans in society today is that we all enter this world, we're all born into this world, and we're all going to die one day. Everyone in our society considers both of those events to be natural. Yet in American society, in the US today, we actually place both of those natural things in the most unnatural environments. We take them out of natural environments and put them in unnatural environments. And so being able to take this course really shed a light on that. The professor's intent was never to change anybody's mind, but there was a survey that was conducted in the beginning of the class. And in the very beginning, all of us women who took this course, out of 30 of us, rose our hand, except for one, that if we were to ever give birth, they would be in a hospital. By the end of the course, there was only but one person who had their hand lifted that they would give birth in a hospital. And like I said, the professor's intent was not to change our minds, but it was to shed light on the information that a lot of us as women do not have today. So I would be lying if I said to you that I always knew I wanted a home birth. That would be a complete lie. I did not know this until the information was provided to me. So this is a very personal journey for me. This is a very personal story. It's a personal experience. And my goal with my platform right now, in light of this, is to shed light on the information that is lacking out there. It's to provide women with the information that right now is not necessarily at their fingertips and they may never hear about unless somebody else had an experience that was outside of the hospital. So that is really what I want to, that's what I want to use this platform for. That's why I'm starting the little mini series here. But my goal really is for you all as women, and if you're husbands or fathers and want to be parents one day, and you're getting married, whatever the case might be, you want to present this opportunity to your spouse that may have never considered it. I want you to know what the opportunities are that you have. I want you to know what your options are. It is not just hospitals. I want to also be very, very clear on my stance. I am not condemning women at all who opt to have hospital births. That is not my aim with this mini series. I want to be very clear about that. I am not condemning women who end up having hospital births. I am not here to condemn women who end up having C-sections. I am not here to judge any women who, especially if they're at high risk, have chosen the best option for them. So that is not my intent. My intent, I'm being clear again, my intent is just to provide you with information so that you are aware of all of the options that are available to you. I think media, politics, bureaucracy, our healthcare system has done a very, very good job of making us believe as women that we are not able to give birth on our own, that our bodies were not designed and created to do this. They've done a very good job of trying to take that right away from us, trying to take that choice away from us. And so what I want to do through this platform is to provide you with the information so that you truly know what your options are available so that you can make a better choice as for yourself as a woman and also for your baby. So I hope this is going to be a blessing to you guys, and we're just going to go ahead and dive right in here, okay? So this being said, okay, I already gave you guys my stance. I'm going to start today. I really just want to focus on my experience. I think one of the questions I'm asked the most throughout all of this is, hey, Francesca, why did you choose a home birth? Are you crazy? People are not saying, are you crazy? But they're giving me the look of, you're going to do a home birth? And if anybody who's on this chat has considered a home birth and you've shared that idea or thought, the notion with anybody else, you know exactly what I'm talking about. People looked at you like you were crazy. They looked at you like you did not know what the heck you were doing. And so the question that I've begun to pose to people now when they ask me is, when they say, why did you choose a home birth? My question back to them is, why not a home birth? And in asking that question, I'm realizing and understanding now that there is so much misconception. There is a stigma around home births. And I think that stigma has really been created by, again, like the healthcare system, media, bureaucracy, politics, everything around us. And so because of that, there's this fear And usually the fear stems from, again, this misconception that I'm gonna die if I give birth at home. My baby's gonna die if I give birth at home. I don't have the medical attention necessary. Like, if something were to happen and I would be at risk, all of a sudden everything, like, my whole world is gonna come to an end. I don't have the support necessary. I don't have the medicine around necessary. Like, what if I can't stand the pain? Which I'm gonna get to, because believe it or not, like, once you go into the hospital and get injected with Pitocin, that pain is much worse than natural labor contractions, believe it or not. So we'll get into that in probably the next session. But so there's a lot of underlying fear that goes into it because of the stuff that we have been fed. So I actually had a hospital birth with my first daughter, Kalea. So Kalea was my firstborn. I opted to have a hospital birth, although from the very beginning, after taking this course, mind you, this is like 10 years later, I had told my husband, there is, without a doubt, I'm doing a home birth. We did the research together. I presented the information to him. And it is so important to have somebody on your side that is 100% with you if this is the option that you are taking. My husband, because he was doing the research with me, watching the documentaries with me, he was on board 110%. So that's going to be the first thing. It's really hard to do this when you don't have the support. You might have done all of the research, but if you don't have people that you've brought into the research journey, the investigation journey with you, then it does make it difficult to actually follow through. And I say that because the reason why I did not end up having a home birth with Kalea, the very first one, was because I listened to a lot of the people around me. I had the support of my husband, which, babe, I love you. If you're watching this, thank you so much for supporting me. I had the support of my husband, but we had family and, friends, and then other people who were hearing about the fact that I wanted to have a home birth, and everyone was giving me the, are you sure? And then putting the doubt and the fear in my mind, like, well, what if something goes wrong? Like, oh my God, what if I did die? Like, what if I don't get to the hospital in time? And so all of these doubts began to enter my mind, and they are all real. So I don't want to tell you, like, you're not going to have any fear if you're considering other options. Of course, the fears are going to be there, but it's understanding that those fears really have been instilled by society. Like, they've been conditioned by society today. So I ended up doing the hospital birth with Kalea because I let some of that fear get to me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to prove to myself and to everybody else that I can do this naturally, but I can also do this without any medication. And I remember telling family members, guys, if I do this, then I want you to know that the next kids I am having at home, and I don't want to hear anything about it. It is happening at my house. So that was kind of my motivation, and I was determined to do this. When I was even picking my OB, I went through the research to find an OB for delivery. I didn't go ahead and just, because a friend recommended a practice, I was going to go ahead and go with the first OB that popped up or was available. No, ladies. This is your birth we are talking about here. You are bringing a child into the world. You need somebody who is on your team and not just in it to get your money. We're going to talk about that later. So my husband and I probably went to 3 or 4 different OB practices before we made a decision. And guess what? Halfway through the first OB, I left because I was like, this is not going to work. We weren't a good fit. The very first appointment that I had with all of the OBs that I visited, I was interviewing them. I wanted to know where their stance was. I wanted to know how many what their C-section rate was. Even though I'd already done the research, I came in knowing, I know that you have a 34% C-section rate, or I know that 1 out of 2 patients that comes to you ends up getting a C-section, or 75. I came in knowing all of that information. So I treated this like, the OB needs to win my business. I am a customer. So you have to sell me that you are the right OB for me. So it did take some time for me to find the right person, but I want to say that about 12 weeks in, we finally settled on an OB that we thought was going to be great. She had the lowest C-section rate. I think it was like 12% in the practice at the time. And one of the things that stood out to me about her was that she said, I love doing natural deliveries. I love letting women labor through the pain. And that really was one of the things that captivated us about her. So we said, we're definitely going to go with this OB. And the other thing that was huge for me at the time was having a doula. So I will just give you guys a teaser. My doula, Amy, is actually going to be on the live, not today, but she is going to be on the live in the future, because we've already been talking. I really want her to give you guys insight about what a doula is, and just give you guys more insight and information about that if anybody wants to consider one. But the nice thing about having the doula, which, I was like, there's no way I'm going to a hospital without a doula, is because this is the person who is supporting you through the birth. They are advocating for you. And not just for you, but they're taking care of both you and your husband, because yes, your partner needs support too. If they're ever in a place where they don't know what they're doing, they're not eating. My doula was ensuring that we were both okay. The main focus was me, but if at any time I was resting during labor, she was checking up on my husband. And those were all things that I appreciated. I needed somebody that was going to advocate for me and speak up for me, because they knew what my birth plan was the moment I stepped into the hospital. Let me tell you what happened with Kalea. With Kalea, I came in, I gave everybody my birth plan. We wrote it on the board that was, on the screen, like the whiteboard that was in the hospital room. We came in saying, this is our birth plan. I want a natural, unmedicated delivery. I only want intervention if it is extremely necessary. It's because nothing else can be done, and we really are saving Mia and the baby. I'm sorry to say that those wishes weren't honored. And now I want to be very clear. I honor doctors. I honor nurses. I am thankful and grateful for them, because we need them, and I strongly believe that God has given them the wisdom in order to deal with situations. And so I'm so grateful that I had a team that was there checking on me. But the problem was that I don't know if this was planned, but anytime my contractions were getting to the point where it was unbearable for me, and I was laboring and breathing through the pain like I had really, trained myself to do, a nurse would run in and tell me, do you want epidural, mommy? Do you want epidural? Are you in too much pain, mommy? Do you want to get rid of the pain, mommy? I had made it very clear. No, I want to feel this whole thing. I want to be part of this experience. And unless I am asking you for it, I don't want it. So I was so grateful to have a doula who was there advocating for me. In the middle of laboring and contractions, if any medical personnel came in to ask me a question, she would step in and say, she's laboring right now. Can you please come back later? Versus me signing paperwork, not knowing what waivers I'm signing, what rights I'm giving away. I just honestly, it doesn't matter what kind of birth you're having. I think there's a misconception that you can only have a doula at a home birth, and that is not the truth. Even if you wanted to do a hospital birth, even if you had a planned C-section, whatever the case might be, you can have a doula at any birth experience that you choose. So I want to make sure that you all are aware that doulas are there to support you through the process. And it is an incredible experience to have one. And I was so fortunate. Amy was actually with me, not just for Kalea, but she was with me for all 3 of my births. She was awesome. Amazing. I love Amy. I can't speak enough about Amy. Now, that also being said, I will say that thankfully there were many moments during my experience that I wanted to give up. I'm not going to say that natural birth is easy, unmedicated birth is easy. I would be lying if I did say that. But I am grateful that I had the support of my husband and my doula there, that there was one moment, and this is the moment when you know you are at the home stretch. The moment when I wanted to give up, I remember looking at my doula and asking, "Do you think I can do this?" And she smiles calmly back at me and says, "You can do this. You're almost there." She knew. She knew that the moment I was getting ready to give up and ask for intervention, it was because I was getting to the home stretch. That's a word right in itself right there, but I didn't come to preach, so I'm not going to park it there. We're going to keep moving, but just chew on that for a minute. The reality is that after the moment that I wanted to give up, I think it was a matter of 30 minutes after that, and Kalea was born. It was like 2 pushes and she was out. So, it really does come. I think there's a huge misconception in that the laboring process is completely painful from the beginning to the end. And once you begin to feel contractions, like, oh my God, you're in pain for 24 hours. That's not the case for a lot of women. There are women who labor for an extensive amount of time. So I do not want to take that away from anyone. Like, definitely do not. There are women who labor for an extensive amount of time. But the notion of like, I am dying like the entire time, that's false. As labor progresses, yes, it gets a little tad bit more unbearable every single time. But as it progresses, you know that you're getting close to the finish mark, guys. You know that you're getting there. And I think that's what was so exciting for me. Anybody who is going to consider a home birth or even a natural unmedicated birth, you cannot do it if you are not mentally prepared. You don't know how many conversations I have with women who will tell me, I'm going to try to do this naturally. And I will tell them, well, how are you preparing? Silence. Like, are you watching videos of natural delivery? Are you like sitting in on one? Like, did you see one? Are you like reciting affirmations? Are you meditating, on scripture and affirming yourself in meditation? Like, what are you doing to prepare? And you cannot, I am a firm believer that you cannot do this if you do not mentally prepare. The research shows it. This really is a lot of this is in the mind. And the more you give in to the fact that your body was created to do this, and the more you give in to the notion that you have everything within to do this, that your body is a machine, this powerful machine, the easier it becomes. I'm not saying it's easy, it's the easier it becomes to do it. I had a plan. I prepared for 8.5 months. When I found out that I was pregnant, the moment I found out I was pregnant, I think we were like 7 weeks in, I prepared from the moment I found out to the day I walked into the hospital for natural unmedicated delivery. I knew without a shadow of a doubt that this is what I wanted to do. I knew that there was there was not going to be anybody who was going to come into the room to change my mind. I prepared myself for that. I had the support that I needed in the room to ensure that I was not going to give in and give up unless I sincerely needed to do so. And they were ready to step in and support me if I changed my mind. So this is something you also have to be fluid with. If things are not going as planned, this is where fluidity comes in, and we change the plan to accommodate both mother and baby. But the reality is you cannot do this if you are not mentally prepared. You will give up when you feel the pain. You will tell yourself you cannot do it. You will have people rushing in and out of your room telling you that you need medication in order to get through it. The intervention is needed. And in the next live, what I'm going to do, because my time is almost up, in the next live, what I'm going to do is I actually do want to begin to share some of the stats with you all. But I wanted you guys to just at least understand and know where my story is coming from, my educational background on the subject, and why I chose the options that I chose. I will say that after Kalea was born, I was able to have her a natural vaginal birth, unmedicated. It was a beautiful experience. I was glad to have my support team there. But I was extremely exhausted. I was extremely tired. I was not able to eat. I couldn't drink anything. I mean, everything was restricted to me. I was laboring and I was becoming exhausted doing it. And, there was just, I remember even having to push, being like they were trying to tell me that I needed to lie down on my back. I remember forcing myself up in like a sitting position, almost squatting, telling them I'm not pushing lying down because gravity is working against me. It's beneficial for you, but it's actually not helping me. It's making it harder for me to push this baby out anytime I have to lay on my back. It's also making my contractions hurt even more because I can't move through the pain, or I can't labor through the pain. So I came in prepared. All that to say, you've got to do your research. You've got to be prepared. You've got to know without a shadow of a doubt that this is what you want to do. I am not saying that it is for everybody. I want to be very clear. Home birth is not for everybody. Natural unmedicated delivery is not for everybody. There are women who are at higher risk, and you should consider what your options are. But if you are at a mindset where you're saying, I am open, I want to know what those options are, then please do your research, and get connected with groups and talk to people who've had the experience. Don't just go with one experience. Make sure that you talk to multiple people about their experience, because one person's going to tell you a horror story and then two people are going to tell you an amazing story. So while I had a great team at the hospital, I can't say anything negative about them. I just didn't like the fact that I was tired. I couldn't drink. I couldn't eat anything. I mean, after I had the baby, I just wanted to gulp an entire hamburger. I was tired and exhausted. It was the complete contrary for my at-home births. At home, I had a midwife. I had a doula. I had a birth assistant. I had 3 people that were trained and certified with me that let me labor as I wanted to labor, let me eat, let me drink, made sure I was hydrated, let me move around, applied pressure when necessary to different areas of my body to relieve the pain, allowed me to hop in the water to push the baby out. I mean, no tears, it was just a beautiful experience. And when it was over, I laid down in my bed with my husband, holding my child, and we were able to go to sleep. Everything was done. No bright lights, nobody coming in at all hours of the night, checking up on the baby and like this. No. It was serene. It was beautiful. It was calming. And without a doubt, I was going to have the third one the same way. So I think this is one of the reasons why I love having kids. People think I'm crazy, but believe it or not, my experience has been so beautiful that I have no fear when it comes to delivery. I honestly don't. And a lot of that also stems from my faith. I believe that God is in control and at the end of the day, he has the last say. But I believe in having a strong system around you. Make sure that you've done that. So my time now has come to an end. I will be back next Thursday, all right, because we're hopping onto our prayer line for Hope Center. I will be back next Thursday, and I'm going to have a guest with me. So I want you to tune in. Make sure that if you have not yet subscribed to my email list, that you're on there. Go to francescachavez.com, subscribe, so I can just send you some recaps. I'm going to send you some resources of documentaries that you guys can actually begin to watch to learn a little bit more about the home birth experience and what options you all have, and also just any information available that I can share. But I'm looking forward to seeing all of you back next Thursday. Spread the word. I'm just so excited to be sharing this experience with you and to have you all come alongside the journey. I love you all and thank you all for watching. Bye.